Hello, my name is Kaylee Thies, and I'm going to be telling you about the 2017 Van Buren, Missouri flood. In April of 2017, there was a very traumatic flood in Van Buren, Missouri. Although no one was killed, a big portion of the people in the community were heavily affected by the high rising waters. Creeks and rivers swelled out of their banks, washing out homes and businesses, devastating the entire town. This flood broke records. According to Sanderson and Studarky, the current river crested at 37 feet, a full 8 feet above the previous record set in 1904. The water ran through the town and into about 185 houses, completely destroying 55 of them. The buildings that housed 32 businesses were also affected, and the economic impact to Van Buren was enormous. Also, the Van Buren R1 school district was closed for the rest of the academic year. The flood was caused by excessive rainfall, mainly between April 28th and April 30th. Tropical moisture lifted over a stalled frontal system and caused heavy rains from Texas to Ohio, resulting in extensive flooding from eastern Oklahoma to southern Indiana, including the small town of Van Buren, Missouri. This image shows the areas that were affected by this tremendous flood. According to Heeman and David, April was fairly dry in the Van Buren area until the last week of the month. The rain that was received in those short 7 days made April 2017 the second wettest April on record, out of 123 years of records. A rainfall pattern that led to excessive precipitation falling over much of the southern Midwest, including Van Buren, began as a surface low-pressure center in the Four Corners region of the western United States on April 27, 2017. This rainfall pattern slowly moved southeast over the next 24 hours. On Friday afternoon, April 28th, a stationary front that extended from southeast Missouri across west central Arkansas into southern central Oklahoma began moving north as a warm front. As an upper-level system moved out of the southern Rockies, tropical moisture from the Gulf of Mexico began to get pulled northward up and over the stationary front. At the upper levels of the atmosphere, the 500 millibar low pressure was centered over Arizona and had become cut off from the main flow as it drifted slowly eastward. The result was a convergence of the two fronts, producing thunderstorms that trained over the same areas, yielding abundant precipitation for the next 24 to 36 hours. A series of surface lows that moved northeast along the front brought waves of showers and thunderstorms and resulted in continuous heavy rainfall across the area during the day on Saturday, April 29th. As the warm front continued to move north on Sunday, April 30th, the cold front swept in behind it from the west, bringing an end to the rainfall. For the residents of Van Buren, Missouri, there was very little warning before catastrophe struck. Everyone knew that the waters were rising, but no one ever imagined that it would be as bad as it was. Local law enforcement put out a mandatory evacuation for the campgrounds and parks in the area, but the residents of the community were not alarmed by this. They continued on with their normal daily lives, ignoring the rise of the water. It was not until late the night of April 29th that the members of the community realized they were in trouble. From that point on, the waters rose unbelievably fast. For example, Van Buren High School prom was taking place that evening. Administration and officials thought everything was safe when prom began at 7 p.m. However, by 9 p.m., water started coming in the back door of the high school gymnasium. Parents and guardians attempted to pick up their children from prom, but parts of Main Street and several other surrounding streets were closed. Therefore, no one could get to the gym and no one could leave the area. Town officials escorted every prom attendee to the nearby community center, where everyone was required to stay through the night. There was no cell phone signal, and the prom attendees were terrified about what was occurring in their small hometown. Although roads were still blocked the next morning and several people could not make it to their houses, officials were able to escort every student to safe grounds. About 48 hours later, the water went down enough for the roads to reopen. As the members of the Van Buren community returned to their homes, they were absolutely devastated by the results of the floodwaters. Several homes were completely submerged, and dozens of people lost nearly everything they owned. Most of the people in Van Buren highly underestimated the damage water could cause until they saw it firsthand. Even though people were completely shocked and devastated by this horrific weather event, the community still came together almost immediately to work hand in hand to clean up their small hometown. People from all over the state of Missouri went to Van Buren to help. The local churches were overflowed with supplies for the flood victims. People were set up all over the town to pass out food to every cleanup crew. It was truly amazing how the town came together and worked to help each individual person. I chose to study this flood because it affected people very close to me. Also, it serves as a great example of one of the possible outcomes our weather systems can produce. Throughout the whole flooding process, the community members of Van Buren, Missouri learned a very significant lesson. They learned to be thankful for what they had and to never take anything for granted. An abundance of lives was changed forever by this flood. Although the results of this catastrophe were mostly negative, there were a few positives. The people of the town grew closer as a community, and everyone affected learned to cherish the little things in life. For my sites, I used the article Flooding in the Southern Midwest, United States. I used the article The Landing in Van Buren Sees Significant Damage in Spring Flood. May 1st, 2017, Van Buren practically buried by flooding of Current River. Van Buren already bouncing back from the devastating flood. And Van Buren Mill recovers year after flooding wiped out the community. Thank you.